Retro.
And welcome everybody to a special episode of the Animanicast. And welcome everybody once again to another episode of the Animanicast. This, of course, is the podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows within the Rueggerverse, such as Pinky and the Brain, Tiny Toon Adventures, and Freakazoid. Today, however, we're not reviewing or discussing any episodes, but we are going to be sharing some panel audio from FanX Salt Lake City. Yes. I am Joey. Nathan and Kelly are not here because, we're recording this episode a bit later than usual. The reason? Well, because I just got in from FanX. I just flew in here back home at Tucson now. And, boy, it was a whirlwind trip, exhausting, but so much fun. Tom Ruegger and Paul Rugg, of course, Tom, the creator of Animaniacs, and Paul, not only one of the writers, but also a fantastic voiceover artist who is not only in Animaniacs, but of course he's Freakazoid himself. And also, he's just a hilarious guy. We were all there out at FanX. Paul and Tom were signing autographs, meeting fans, taking pictures, doing voice stuff on their things. And, oh yeah, we're handing out Freakazoos for people who got an autograph for Tom, from Tom and Paul. It was super fun, and even Luke Ruegger was there helping out, and of course Paul's daughter Jill was there as well helping out. So we had a great crew, and Mark, who a lot of you might know as That's Art Folks from Twitter and Instagram and all that, a wonderful artist, was there supporting us. He designed these amazing banners, which I'm sure you've probably seen on our Facebook, Instagram, and who knows where else pages. People love those things. They were taking pictures of just the banner itself because they just thought it was amazing. It was a fantastic experience at FanX. We had an absolute ball. It was exhausting, but it was so much fun to see so many fans meeting Tom and Paul and thanking them for... I heard this over and over again. Thank you for my childhood is something that I heard over and over again, because it's true. They had such a positive effect on so many people's lives throughout the country and throughout the world. So that was fantastic. And, you know, fans being able to get a little souvenir as well, they could take home and to remember the event, I should say, forever, was also a special bonus, because this was Tom and Paul's first convention experience. We had an absolute ball, and I know Tom and Paul would love to continue to do these and go out to additional conventions throughout the world, really. But in order for them to go out there, you guys out there, if you want them to come to your convention, wherever that happens to be, contact them, okay? Let them know that you would really love to come to whatever convention it is, but you'd also really love to see Tom Ruegger and Paul Rugg appear as invited guests. And who knows, maybe we can get this world tour going. Again, we, just messaging Paul and Tom saying, hey, please come to, I don't know, Nebraska, wherever it happens to be. We'd love to. But the fact is, we're not the ones that make those decisions. It's the cons that make those decisions. So please, tell your cons, please invite these folks and they'll come to you, okay? At any rate, like I said before, it was an absolute experience of a lifetime being able to hang out with Tom and Paul. They genuinely are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Just really generous and hilarious, and just it's a ball being able to hang out with them. I have many stories to share, I'm sure, over the next few weeks, and we have additional audio from other panels and everything like that to share as well, as long as the audio comes out okay. But today we're going to be sharing audio from the Animaniacs panel that we had, and it was a complete blast. We had fantastic questions from the audience, the entire audience. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it in this, but they were all singing along to the Animaniacs theme song. Those of you on YouTube, by the way, that might get blocked. So just so you know, there might be a cut in the audio once that pops up if the YouTube copyright police are listening. At any rate, it was a fantastic experience, and I'd love to have you guys all out there experience the same fun of meeting Tom and Paul. So again, please request your local con to have Paul and Tom come to your city, state, country, wherever, province, island in the middle of the Bahamas. Hey, that would be pretty nice, maybe. At any rate, wherever it happens to be, we want to come see you. I'd also like to put a quick thank you so much to our patrons over at patreon.com/Animanicast. These folks have been supporting our podcast for days, weeks, months, and they have been getting what, in my opinion, some fantastic bonus audio from not only me, Nathan, and Kelly as we talk about various nerdy things before recording our show, but also bonus audio commentaries featuring Tom Ruegger and other writers of the show as we watch episodes of the original series and laugh along and learn new facts about each episode, which has been a fantastic experience. And also, some of those patrons are also getting signatures each and every month from Tom Ruegger. If you would like to get an autograph from Tom Ruegger on an Animaniacs or Tiny Toons trading card, well, you better become a patron at one of our upper levels. All the details and stuff are over at patreon.com/Animanicast. So special thanks. We got to give a special shout out to some of our patrons here. Thank you to Bemused Horseman, Christian, Eric, James, Kyle, McCoy, MJ, Nebby, Ketzel, Rapid Kirby 3K, Tamara, The Cartoon Gamer, Weffy, Marjorie, Marty, Tutorials by Smiles on YouTube, and Brian and Micah. Oh my goodness, so many patrons and so much support from you guys. Thank you so much again. Each and every month you help make our show possible. I think it's time to get to our audio. Like I said, there is plenty more stuff to come in the next few weeks, but I wanted to make sure I got this one out as soon as I possibly could. This, of course, is our Animaniacs panel for FanX. Please enjoy and pay attention for a special guest. Oh, I don't know. Who could it be? Oh, yeah. The voice of Wacko, Jess Harnell, makes an appearance as well during the panel. So stay tuned. You're going to love it. We're almost a minute away. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. We'll go ahead and start just a few seconds early just because as people come in. Welcome to Animaniacs Inventing a Classic. Let's start.
Yay!
Hooray!
Woo! Yay! What a great show! Very funny. Very funny.
My name's Joey. I'm actually one of the hosts of the Animanicast. The Animanicast is an thank you. The Animanicast podcast is a podcast that's dedicated to Animaniacs and other shows within the quote-unquote Rueggerverse, such as Pinky and the Brain, Tiny Toon Adventures, and Freakazoid, of course. And today I'm lucky enough to be joined by some very wonderful people up here on stage. Let's go ahead and start with the introduction of the first one right here, Mr. Tom Ruegger. Yes. So let me see if I can get my audio here. Let's check the audio. Are we working? Here we go. Let's try it.
Brain, you're here. Great. And only 45 minutes late today.
You leave.
But, Brain, I'm the producer.
Then leave very quickly.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the creator of Animaniacs, Mr. Tom Ruegger.
Thank you. I'm not talking now.
Okay.
Back to Joey.
And to my left is a writer, a voice actor, a puppeteer, all-around hilarious man, Mr. Paul Rugg. Now, Paul is responsible for not only writing some of the funniest episodes of Animaniacs, but also voicing a couple of the funniest characters, including Mr. Director. Let's go and see a clip of that real quick here.
We're the Warner Brothers.
And the Warner sister.
I don't know how you got in here, but heads will roll for this infringement. This, I promise. Look, kids, I don't sign autographs. It cheapens us both. Me the artist and you the whatever you are. Now scoot.
Hoyle! How'd you with the going? You were there, but here now you are for me to see. How'd you do?
You understand any of that?
I think he said, Hoyle, how'd you with the going? You were there, but here now you are for me to see. How'd you do?
Thanks for clearing that up.
All the words that were written on that were written by this man right here, Mr. Paul Rugg.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and we have also a very special guest, the young gentleman over here to my right. I say young gentleman because we always know him as the young Luke Ruegger from Animaniacs as well. And who did Luke voice? Well, he voiced many characters, including a very sweet one right here.
Finished.
At last, I knew he could do it. Let's see what you wrote. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not bad.
Let's give it up for Luke Ruegger.
That one took me a lot of takes, actually. They had me in there for a really long time. It was just, my mouth was just developing at the time, and I had, it was just all tongue in my mouth all the time. It took me a lot of takes. But it was a real treat to be in the recording studio and to also be a test audience for all of the shows that my dad worked on.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you here.
He was. Yeah.
Let's start it off, everybody, with a quick. You ready to sing the theme song? And then we'll get this panel started, right? So if you don't know the words, which I don't know why you wouldn't, they're going to be up on the screen. So let's all follow along. Here we go. Let's see here. But I have no sound. All right. So let's try it again. Here we go. Are we ready again? The anticipation. You're like, I don't know what this is. Here we go. Try it again. By this man right here, Tom Ruegger, once again. Famous. Gentlemen, take it away.
Hello, everyone. So Tom and I, we really wanted to just kind of talk about how this all came to be. And that would be, Tom, take us to the beginning. To the beginning when it was all good and there weren't evil network executives getting in the way and it was free and we could make shows that people enjoyed.
Well, okay, we'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
We had made Tiny Toons, and that had been, we had been closely watched during Tiny Toons because it was the first production from Warner Brothers Television Animation at that moment. The studio bosses were keeping an eye on it. Stephen was, of course, our executive producer, and he didn't know us from Adam, and he was like, I don't know if I trust these guys. And so we were trying very hard to make it really good, and we got some shows back that had really thick lines, and I remember getting a memo from Stephen that says, "This is unconscionable." And the next day, they put me on an airplane and sent me to Taiwan, and they said I had to tell everyone that you can't do the thick lines or I'm going to, be flying around the world here. So we had to really toe the line, and there was another time we had a big rally party, and you think, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have, the premiere's coming up, and Stephen came. It was like a pep rally, and Stephen brought me aside and said, I just watched the football episode. What was that one called of Tiny Toons? And again, the line quality, really. There I was. I was back in Taiwan. But then the show went on the air. It was a big hit. And then Stephen loved us and basically gave us the keys to the car. He was going to go off and make Schindler's List, and we were going to stay behind and make Animaniacs. And I'll just give you a couple things about the pitch I made to Stephen. Is that okay?
Tom, it's your microphone.
I'll get off in a minute. But I went to his house for milk and cookies on a Saturday morning, I swear. And Sherry Stoner and Gene McCurdy and we pitched the elements of Animaniacs. And I sang the Pinky and the Brain theme song to the tune to which I wrote it which is different than a tune you know. And so I sang, they're Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been spliced. They're Dinky, they're Pinky and the Brain. And he said, sold. Of course, we changed the music. So when we got going on the show, we really had incredible freedom because we had succeeded with Tiny Toons, and now we were just going to make cartoons that really made us laugh. Now, Sherry Stoner's husband ran a theater called the Acme Theater, and it was a comedy club. And I went there one night, and Sherry said, you have to see these guys in action. And one of the people on stage was Mr. Paul Rugg. And what were you doing back there, Paul?
I was doing improv. I was doing sketch comedy. Yeah, sketch comedy. I was doing Manny the Uncanny. I was paying to perform, which was very boring, but and made me very poor. But then you came to the show, and Tom said, hey, would you like to do a script for this new show called Animaniacs? And I was like, yeah, it beats working at the Census Bureau. So,
and did you actually pay money? We said, not much.
Yeah, but, well, trust me, when you're making nothing, it's nothing. But, so when I said yes, back then they sent over this stack of, it was called the series Bible. And it was, I mean, you could basically, it had the massive Jupiter, and it was this thick, and it was just a bunch of random stuff about the characters.
Yes.
And
not organized well.
Yeah, it was all about Yakko, Wacko, Dot, and then based on that, you sent me that, and then you gave John McCann and I got Rollover Beethoven, I think, and John McCann got Dracula, and that was basically, we didn't know it, but that was our audition to be in the show.
Not only was it the audition, but those were the first two scripts written for the Warners.
Right.
Yes.
And so based on that, I think you gave us a week to write. And
yeah,
it was
not a lot.
Yeah, it was over Christmas, and I remember every word, it was very, very hard, because also Tom wanted us to write visually, like what we see, not just a bunch of words, but where's the camera, what happens, how do they get in, how do they get out, and it's the most I've learned so much from comedy in writing. Where is the camera? What does the audience see? And so anyway, it took a week to write that, and John and I both turned it in, and then you called about...
Well, what happened was I was in my office and doing whatever, and I hear Sherry Stoner in the next room laughing out loud. And I go out and say, oh, well, that's a good sign. I said, so what? Because, she's a tough audience. She said, read the scripts. Oh, my gosh, read the scripts. They just came in. And so then she heard me in my office laughing out loud. And it was Rugg. It was Rollover Beethoven, which, you think, oh, that's going to be the best script he ever wrote. That was just the beginning. I mean, he wrote, if that was 100, he wrote things that hit 1,000, because he wrote, honestly, the first 2 weeks of the show airing, they're just each of the days, 10 days of the first 2 weeks, he wrote 8 of the Warner segments. So he really brought those guys to life.
Oh wow, it was fun. And once Tom, no more, thank you. Hey, no, stop, please, no, come on, stop, please. When Tom said they're the Marx Brothers, and they're the Marx Brothers, in case you guys didn't know, they're based on that. I don't know if you guys know who the Marx Brothers are, but you should check them out. But there's an energy, and there's a comedy, and there's wildness, and that's how we wrote the show. And everyone talks about, hey, did you have a writer's room and all that stuff, and what was it like to break stories? Did you all get around and really think about it? No! The way we did it back then was we would go into Tom's office, and Tom would say, what are you going to write? And we would say, how about they meet Jerry Lewis? He's the director. Tom said, good, you have a week. And we would go off, and we would come back, and there was no let's really think about what happens on each page. It was each writer was given the ability to fail or not fail or whatever, and it was it's not done that way these days. It's always a group thing, and it eventually becomes a group thing when everyone takes hold of it. But we got to write whatever we wanted. And Tom had a secretary, and I would give her $1 every time I turned in a script, and I said, and I would say, Tom's going to hate this one. She goes, I don't think so. And I would give her the $1, and then you would like it, and she'd give me the $1 back. Yeah.
Paul really, every once in a while, a script just came to him. He could write it just with great ease because it was just natural. There were times, though, where even with ideas that were completely original to Paul, they would get him and they would put him through torture. And, say he had a script due on Friday, he would be just filled with angst until Thursday evening. And then Friday, he would just wail through it.
Yeah. Because we just wanted to make each other laugh, and if we were sitting there in the room and what we were writing, if we weren't, if me personally, if I wasn't laughing, going, oh man, I really love this, then it was a pointless endeavor. And that's what he sort of instilled. It was like, these better make you happy before I see them. And that's really not. Again, it was my first writing gig ever, and boy, did I learn a lot. It was fun. And of
course, he was in the booth often for recording sessions, and he'd be on the other side of the glass, but sometimes he'd be in the recording. And he once told me that he knew he was working well when he looked in the booth and he saw me and Andrea going.
Yeah, and conversely, you knew when you weren't doing well, because remember, you can't hear what you're in the booth, right? And sometimes you'd get the face from Tom like, or you'd get this. And sometimes that would happen, and you'd be in the booth going, I don't think he liked that one. And then Andrea, our wonderful director, there'd be, and then Andrea would come on the top and go, good. Let's just try it again. Anyway, it was fun. And, we don't want to make this a fest, but Tom Ruegger is the creator. He is the reason why you guys like this stuff, and it's probably why you're here, because he really created, and he created. And trust me, I worked at Disney, where you come in and you literally clock in, and they're like, "What are you going to write today?" And you go, "I'm going to do this," and they go, "No, you're not. You're going to write over here." And it's just this freeing thing. And again, it's something that, having now done this for 30 years, not everybody gives you this space. So anyway, and then,
Thanks very much,
That's
Paul.
$10, Tom.
Again, when you have comedy people...
I'm over at booth 228.
I've met many funny comedians and funny people, and honestly, in my life, I remember working with Jonathan Winters, one of the funniest people on earth, but I always say Sherry Stoner and Paul Rugg are two of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life, and thank God I met them. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, thank you.
I want to mention, just go back to one thing. When we pitched the show, Stephen wanted to do it, liked it, but he said, you know what, we need a marquee name, and if you can't give me a marquee name... I said, well, you're the marquee name. Steven Spielberg said, no, I mean, the show needs to have a marquee character, or if not, I'm going to have you make Plucky Duck the host of it. And so then it would be a spinoff of Tiny Toons, which we didn't want to do. So the marquee name was solved when I had, and I want Paul to tell you about one of his cartoon epiphanies in a moment. Okay?
All right.
But I had my cartoon epiphany, and I was filled with angst too. I'm walking across the lot, and I need to come up with a marquee name for this show. I want to call it Animaniacs, but I still need a marquee character. And I see the water tower. Now, today we want to thank the water tower for coming all the way from Burbank.
Yay!
For being here. Cambria Lion packed up the water tower and made sure it got here safely. And so I saw the water tower on the lot, and I saw the Warner Brothers emblem on it. And the epiphany moment was literally right then, and I realized, oh, these crazy characters, the Warners, they can live in that. And that's got their name on it, the Warner Brothers. And then I realized, and we were making them these old, timey 30s characters, but why would they be in there? Oh, they were too wacky, and we locked them in there. And anyway, it all came together, and so I called up Stephen, and I pitched it to him over the phone, and he was like, I buy it. So that happened. But Paul, in writing one of the scripts that was in, I think the first week of the series, he was writing this fabulous script, but he was having great pain wrapping it. Cookies for Einstein.
Oh, yeah. And first of all, I never knew what the episodes would end, ever. We didn't know. All we knew was an idea. And it was like, how are we going to wrap this up? How does this end? What does it all mean? And there was something very freeing in that, but also very scary because it was like, oh, I don't know where this is going. I wrote one called Cookies for Einstein, where the Warner Brothers comes to Einstein cookies as he's trying to figure out the theory of relativity, which is E equals mc squared. And then one day it occurred to me, how am I going to end this? What happens? If you look at Acme and you turn it backwards, it's E equals mc squared. And that happened to me. I was installing a floor, and you're like, oh my gosh, E equals mc squared is Acme backwards. And then I wrote it in a script, and that was fun. Anyway, yeah. But that's how Animaniacs happened. We didn't know what we were doing. Yeah, we didn't have a plan. What? All right, so now maybe we should talk about the casting process, Tom. How did you get the voice? That sort of thing?
Okay.
I mean, I can kick it back to you, unless whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Well, Rob, Jess, Tress, they came to it. We loaded the possibilities when we sent them to Stephen. We made sure there were a lot of Rob and Jess choices. Oh, they were numbered. There were no names. It was just like he was seeing these auditions without any names attached, and he picked out Rob and Jess, which is what we wanted him to do. Tress, I don't know. I mean, I know we auditioned others, but we never anticipated using anyone but Tress for the role of Dot. Maurice LaMarche, we originally brought in for Pinky and the Brain, we brought in the two people from our studio who's visually inspired Pinky and the Brain, Tom Minton and Eddie Fitzgerald, and we actually had them do voices because Eddie actually, when he left, he would say Narf. So we thought, well, we have to try that out. But then Maurice came in, and he would always audition. He would always warm up. Before any audition or any show, he would warm up. And his traditional warm-up was him doing Orson Welles, there's a farm, or, the peas grow there. And he would do this famous Orson Welles track from some commercial Orson Welles did. And so he was warming up. And then he had the copy for the Brain, and he just continued from the warm-up into doing the Brain. And we said, well, there's the Brain. There you go. And Rob, I think Pinky came a little bit later. And if you listen to the first couple episodes of Pinky and the Brain, Pinky sounds a little different. He gets more insane or more of a genius, depending on what you think he is, as the series goes. What other characters were crucial there? Well, Luke the Flame came in. I had Nathan, my other son, did Skippy, and of course Slappy Squirrel came from Sherry Stoner, and she was reading some little section of a script when Stephen was there, and she was doing sort of this character that she did from The Groundlings, which was sort of a burned out
hey, what are you doing? Yeah,
drunk old woman.
Yeah.
And she was doing that for Slappy, and Stephen said, "You're doing Slappy." So he cast her.
Yeah. So we basically did all, and it's so funny. Tom mentioned how a voice changes from the beginning, and then because a voice at the beginning, you're sort of like, this is what they want, and then if you do a few more episodes, the voice sort of evolves to, I think it's true. Yakko Wakko Dot certainly found their voice a few episodes in.
Absolutely, yeah. And they initially we were planning on pitching them a little bit. but they're such talented voice actors, and they knew that. And within a couple of weeks, they were pitching themselves, and we didn't have to pitch them anymore.
Yeah. So, do we want to Should we leave it to questions? George?
We could, if there are questions.
Does anyone have any questions about? Because we can just probably talk about what you guys want to talk about. Right. What your questions are you have about the show, right. And you have to come to a microphone.
Yeah, there's 2 microphones right here.
Two microphones, one here,
one
and
on that side, one on that side. We'll ping pong back and forth,
and we'll discuss. We'll discuss all kinds of things.
Well, hang on one moment.
Uh-oh. Oh! Sit down in the seat. Oh my God. Wait, loving, sit down like an honored guest.
Hello, friends, or should I say, hello, FanX. You know what's funny? This sweet little girl in the front, I don't know if she knew who I was. She thought I was like in a Guns N' Roses tribute band. And I came in and I said that and you lit up like a Christmas tree. How cool is that? Isn't that nice? Listen, I'm swinging by here for a minute because I got to tell you guys something, okay? This is serious. This is as serious. I remember you. How are you, dude? This is as serious as I get, okay? Red. All right, listen. Oh, hey, my girl, that's my wife, Cara. Hello. Everybody say hello. Nurse, go. There it is. Now listen, I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? You know, we all meet people in the course of our lives, and if we're lucky, they're a good influence on us and they take us to good places. If we're not, we're better off without them, right? I was very, very blessed when I got started doing voiceover because of these 2 guys right here. And I'm being as serious as I can. You sometimes meet people who impact your life permanently. I have worked on so many things. I've been so blessed to work on so many things since I got started doing what I do and what a lot of you guys know that I do. I have rarely, if ever, worked with a better writer than this guy right here, and that is no jive. You guys know me. I don't say BS. I don't do BS. This is the truth. Every time we got a script that said his name, we knew how good it was going to be. And most of you would not have had a childhood without that guy right there. Okay? He is a dear and a wonderful friend and an amazing guy. And when you think... Oh, my God, when you think of the body of work, well, first of all, you have multiple Emmys, too, right? You got like 3 Emmys? And you got like, what, 56? You got like 14 or something, right? Like 14. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. So the point is, yeah. You know how many I got? I got a doorstop. That's all I got. But the thing is, what I'm saying is that it's like you guys just relish this opportunity. And if you have any interest at all in being, I mean, Paul's a writer and a performer. He's a puppeteer, for God's sake. He does everything. If you guys have any interest in what the fields that these guys run in, you have an opportunity both here and at their table to pick the brains of, like, it's the top of the heap, man. It's not like the guy who cleans their pool, which would have been me if I hadn't met them. You're getting a chance to get up close and personal with seriously the best that there are, and they are my friends and they are your friends, and I love these guys and I know you do too. So that's it. But I'm still afraid of clowns, so it was weird for me to sit next to Mr. Clown Man. That's all I got to say.
Nice boy with no eyebrows.
Wait, Paul, will you sing the song?
Yeah.
Yeah, do the song.
Oh, little puppy boy.
Oh, it's made for me. It's done. When the whippoorwill whip is in the wind can't whip it back. Oh, nice and chubby baby. There you go.
Me and my wife run around the house singing Nice and Chubby Baby all the frickin' time. That's like next level genius, dude. It's like that combination of words. Anyway, man, I just love them so much. So, good, man. Of course. Good.
And he's got a show coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. You guys, are you going to go to Twisted Tunes? How many people are going to go to Twisted Tunes? At 3 o'clock today, it's going to be like a bunch of really great voice actors, and I'll be there too. And we're going to be reading a movie script in all kinds of voices and character voices and impressions. I hope I see you there. But in the meantime, like I said, this is an opportunity you don't often get. Take advantage of it. Talk to them here. Go see them at their table. You could not meet better people, and I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Jess.
Love you, Jess.
Let's make it happen. Let's not say it. Let's do it. Polly?
Oh, let's turn around.
I love you.
Oh, no.
right, please. Oh, move away, someone.
No.
Oh, there was a leg.
Let's stand real quick for a quick photo.
Right there.
Hey, hi everybody.
Yay!
Yay! Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Brian Laven.
Paul, who was that?
I don't know who that was.
I was blinded. I couldn't see what was going
Oh, yeah, question. Hey, let's start over there.
Also, the person you just talked to is Gene Simmons. So
Oh, okay. Good, thank you.
I was wondering.
I know Shatner left, but I am letting that joke live on forever. I wanted to ask, what was your favorite one of the Warner siblings to write lines or songs for?
Wacko. But for different reasons. Yakko he did the work. Yakko set up the story. Dot sort of supported Yakko in the story. It was always very, it was like Yakko had the jokes. Wacko was innocent. And he was always innocent. And so, therefore, the things he said could be much sillier. And I think, to be honest with you, of all three characters, he was the more real, like the more grounded in reality. So it was like we had all these different characters, but Wacko was definitely, he could have that zinger, and it was innocent. So he could almost be a little bit more, because it was so simple and happy and nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because Yakko, you felt like he was like the old hand. He knew everything he was going to say almost.
Right.
Probably rehearsed it. And Dot really was dwelling on that cute thing and was going to stay there.
Right. Yeah. And the way I always imagine it, Yakko and Dot knew wholeheartedly they were in a show. Wacko wasn't always sure that he was in a show. So it was a really fun dynamic to play with them. So, yeah, for me, it was Wacko.
All right.
And it's not because Jess just came and put his leg on my chest.
Thank you.
Let's go over to the left right here.
Hello, guys who made the little kids that look like the puppies.
Nice.
One meal.
Nice with the boy.
So, my question is this, when you're writing the scripts, did you, have any problems? Or how did you tackle those? If you ever had issues or had struggles or whatever.
You mean like from censors or something, or just internal struggles? Because every script for me was a struggle. It was I hate everything I'm doing. But
writer's block.
Yeah. You would. There was a lot of walking around. Our office was at the Sherman Oaks Galleria, and we would walk around. We'd go to the mall. We would do whatever. And there was a game place underneath, and we would play foosball and stuff, and sometimes that would be for 3 hours, and we'd sort of wander back up. But it was weird. I always got the sense, and so did Peter Hastings and John McCann. By the way, John McCann is a brilliant writer too, and John just has a book out, so you should get this book. It's and that's a true book. John is a brilliant genius. In fact, since our table has been here, Tom and I are over there, a lot of people quoting me lines that are McCann's. And it's that sharp, it's just brilliant stuff. But anyway, sometimes when you're just doing stuff, the solution to a story problem presents itself to you. But if you're thinking about it all the time, it's not going to come. It was when we were doing other things. In fact, we'd be in, I won't say this, but we used to smoke cigarettes. And no,
he didn't
please.
say that. He didn't say it.
I didn't. But we would go down to the. We don't anymore. But we would go down, and there was a fountain. And we'd sort of wait there and talk and be like, yeah, whatever, and whatever. And we would just and then all of a sudden, everyone would be like, and they got their idea. And we had to go 12 floors back up. There was a lot of that. A lot of people deep in thought in their own world.
I remember Paul would be on, there were a couple scripts that I know, the one with Abe Lincoln had you tortured for a while. And there was one of his greatest scripts of all time was Hearts of Twilight, where Paul had sent the Warners to stop the director. And I don't know, something happened with that one where you had...
Yeah, I did a first draft and I wasn't feeling it, and I'm like, oh man, this is I don't know. And I turned it to Tom, and Tom called me in his office, and Tom was like, I hate this. and I'd like you to redo it. And I was like, oh, I can't. It's too hard. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I don't know what the answer is. And Tom said, well, you're going to go back in your room, and you're going to find the answers. And I went back in my room, and I found the answers. Once I figured out I was doing a parody of Francis Ford Coppola, wife doing a documentary on the making of Apocalypse Now. That's kind of how Animaniacs were. It was like, okay, kids will love that.
All right, thank you. Let's go over to the next side over here.
Hi. So my all-time favorite Animaniacs episode is Hooked on a Ceiling.
Yes.
And I particularly love the punchline at the very end of the episode. And so my question is, I have a good feeling that you guys didn't write the episode, but I have a feeling you were part.
I know I did. With Charlie Howlett and Gordon Bressak.
Yeah. Whose idea was it for that punchline? And also, what was Steven Spielberg's reaction to that?
Well, that's a perfect example because Paul said you never know what the ending is. We had no idea what the ending was. And, we had Kirk Douglas as Michelangelo, and we knew we were going to do a lot of, painting the ceiling gags and ceilings, nothing more than ceilings. And, we like painting naked people. But Charlie, Gordon, and I got together. We didn't have an ending, and together we came up with, let's go with the boss. And you got to know your audience. That was my line. And see, Steven, he might say, oh, you don't need to put me in it, but he loves to get put in those things. So it really was the right topper for that one. And it's like, I wrote with Charlie and Gordon the one, This Pun for Hire, and that had a great topper. The things DreamWorks are made of. Another good, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, back over to the left.
This show, I feel, is one of the most educational shows I've ever watched growing up as a kid. And my question is when you were writing some of the songs that were very educational, how long did it take the actors to memorize, especially with Wacko's World?
Well, you don't need to memorize when you're a voice actor, right, voice actors? You don't need to memorize it because... Why, Paul?
It's on the paper.
Of course, Rob ultimately did memorize Yakko's World. Now, Yakko's World was written by Randy Rogel, and he had written it prior to showing up at Warner Brothers. He had written it for his kid to just, entertain the kid and teach his child about the countries of the world. And so he came in, and he said, I want to play you something. And I don't know, was he even working there? He was doing a Batman script.
Yeah, he was working on Batman, the animated series.
And he, right next to you, right?
He had the office right next to me, and I'm kind of like, I like solitude. And the next thing I know, the office is next to me, and by the way, the offices were about this big, and all of a sudden I see a piano going in the room. And then next thing I know, it's like, and that went on for 6 months, and I hate him.
So Randy, he wrote that one, and he wrote the State song. So we give a lot of credit to him for those two songs, but just those two songs. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, he wrote a bunch of songs, but Paul wrote a bunch of songs. Peter Hastings, Nick Hollander. Yeah. I wrote Lake Titicaca, and we could all sing that in a moment. But,
yes.
Yeah.
Lake Titicaca, oh Lake Titicaca, it's between Bolivia and Peru. Lake Titicaca, oh Lake Titicaca, with water so tranquil and blue. Oh Lake Titicaca, oh Lake Titicaca, why do we sing of your fame? Oh Lake Titicaca, oh Lake Titicaca, 'cause we really like saying your name, Titicaca! There you go.
That's easy. That's a fun one.
That's from the mind of Tom Ruegger. By the way, I got back to Renner ago when I wrote all the songs all the words in the English language.
You wrote that?
I did. I got back to him.
And he also wrote I Am the Very Model of a Cartoon Individual, of course, as well.
Oh, Magellan. If you guys want to know about Magellan and what happened to him, he died, and that's in the song. Go ahead, yes.
Other side, yes.
I love the adult jokes that you don't catch as a kid. What was your favorite one to write into the show?
Oh, my word. I don't know.
Well, Paul put in, good night, everybody. That was probably in, the first one he did was in Beethoven, where he would, about,
I'm a pianist.
Yeah.
I'm a pianist.
But that, that's just sort of, ooh, naughty. We had a bunch of that. I mean, we never, to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, Jess is gone now, so I can be honest. They were the ones doing all the naughty things. We were writing very clean things, and then they would say things and we'd be like, I think we're leaving that in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. True. No.
They're ad-libs.
They're make-em-ups.
All right, over here.
I'm really enjoying the reboot. How do you all feel about the future with the reboot?
I'm going to be totally honest. I've never seen it because I don't have the device to see it. But I hear very good things about it. Yeah. I don't know it though.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I mean, I've seen a little bit of a few of them, and I was disappointed we weren't invited back, so I haven't paid a lot of attention to it.
Yeah. And I have thoughts, but I'll share that with you later. Yeah. I don't want to bring everybody down.
What's your favorite and least favorite characters?
Say that again?
What is your most favorite characters and your least favorite characters?
Oh, good.
Most
That's
and
good.
least favorite.
All right. You want to go or want me to go?
My most favorite character is... okay. I'm going to give you my favorite character and the character everyone didn't like. How about that? I'm going to change it. My favorite character is a little character that I wrote for a one-off called Charlton Woodchuck. And no one liked him. He
do
was
a little voice. Do a little.
He was sort of like Truman Capote. If you guys know who Truman Capote is, and he was a little woodchuck. He wanted to make it in Hollywood, and every time someone upset him, he wrote their names down so that when he's famous, he wouldn't like them. And I think everyone was very harsh with this character, and I think you people should really change your mind. Anyway, Go ahead.
And he was always taking names, right?
Yeah.
Mine would... I can't give you one, sorry. I love the Warners, and I love Slappy, and I love the Brain. The Brain, I don't know why I gravitate toward the Brain more than Pinky, but I do. Okay. Thanks.
All right, over here.
I really did like the original and the reboot. It's getting a season 3, by the way. I'm really excited for that. My question is, what was your favorite special you wrote, and what was the hardest special you wrote?
Did we do anything special?
We didn't do any specials, but I like to think that every episode...
We did the 65th anniversary.
The 65th anniversary special, yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones where a full episode was entirely dedicated to...
one story.
Yeah, one story.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I love the 65th anniversary special.
Yeah, I like the 65th anniversary special, not just because I wrote it. Well, pretty much probably because of that. No, we did. 65th was the 65th episode, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What did we do before that? We did...
we had a half hour...
Taming of the Screwy?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was Spellbound was another one that was...
let's see, Taming of the Screw. We had King Yakko.
Yeah.
We had the Pinky and the Brain as minstrels.
Yeah, Spellbound.
Oh, okay.
We had the one with Pinky and Brain as minstrels.
Yeah, it's Spellbound.
Okay.
Then we had an endless episode, I think, Hooray for North Hollywood, parts 1 and 2.
Yes.
Oh, my God, make it stop.
Yeah.
Speaking of censorship, my favorite example is how it wasn't okay for Wacko to hit Dracula with a baseball bat, but you give it wings and fangs, and that made it okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then you got away with stuff like Fingerprints. So what my question is, in, I guess, battling with the censors, how did you guys toe the line between what was legit funny and what mothers would find appropriate?
Tom? Okay. Fingerprints was something that slipped through. It really did. And I was at a panel, I think with... I think I was. It was the Freakazoid panel.
Yeah, it's Freakazoid panel.
And I'll just quickly, it's all from Tress McNeil. She's filthy. we had the line, look for fingerprints, says Yakko, and Wacko says, hey, look, I found Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince. And he goes, no, fingerprints. And that's the end of the story. But Tress said, I don't think so. And that got left in the recording, the recording session. We all laughed. We're not going to leave that in. And the guy that cuts the show together left it in. And then the storyboard artist left it in. And then it goes overseas. It's left in. It comes back. And we go, oh, my God, we can't cut it now, can we? We could have, but the network didn't cut it.
No. Sometimes the network, literally, I think there was a lot of scotch. Because it was like, I don't know what was going on. They're like, that's fine, but make sure that Wacko wears his seatbelt.
Safety is the key.
Yeah. I did get one show, Road Rovers. I did this thing with Russian names, kind of again, the first and last and middle name. And it ends with the kid, if you're Russian and you get your father's middle name, the kid's middle name is Sonabovich. And that made... Yeah, and there were dogs. But that made one airing, and, we got letters. So that one came out. Yeah.
All right, back over to your side.
Oh. Sorry.
It just comes right off.
We're going to charge you for that microphone.
What was your guys' favorite moment from working with the cast and the artists and the voice actors? Like, what was your best moments from that?
When the session ended. No, that's not true.
Tom's serious. Yeah. No. The picture of the 65th anniversary special, or the whole cast. It was throwing that whole cast in. For me, that was the highlight. Just all these people recording it, and So that was a highlight. For
Honestly, it was. Like I mentioned in the booth, I mean, it was my job. I felt like my job was to laugh because the scripts were funny, the actors were funny. It was really, I had a really great job.
Back over to the right.
Yes, while many of your episodes made me laugh, one made me cry. That was A Gift of Gold. Can you explain what that?
I think Paul can.
I can. All right. Is that the wrapping paper?
Yes.
Okay.
And he liked it.
Good. Stephen had this whole story, and sometimes Stephen would call and we'd pitch his stories, and we didn't always understand it. And this one, he was like we understood it, and it was about a piece of wrapping paper meant for
one of his kids. Well, for Mindy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't funny, right? So it's like we're a bunch of comedy writers, and we're like, I don't know what to do with that, right? So it's like, and then and when Tom said this is what we're going to write, I think you even said we all took a step back, like, I don't know how to write that.
Leaving Droopy in front of the Mounties, yeah.
That's heart and niceness, and we don't know that. And then Nicholas Hollander stepped forward.
Yes,
and
he
said,
did.
I know niceness and happiness. I'll write it. Yeah.
And Stephen loved it
a lot.
He was so happy with it.
Yeah. So that's how that sort of happened. It was like, and that's kind of what Animaniacs was about. It was like, sometimes we do this, sometimes we do that, sometimes we do this, and we just kind of, but that's how that episode, that was Stephen's idea and request. It turned out great.
Yeah, there was a lot of little sweet moments, or side things, like even Brave Little Trailer. By the way, voiced by this guy right on the side. The little trailer episode where he's running around. That's voiced by him. There's so many cool moments, sweet things like that of Animaniacs.
And in sweet, like in the Little Drummer Warners, it looks very sweet. We're doing the whole Christmas story and they're shepherds. And then it breaks into a jazzy swing version of Drummer Boy. It covers a lot of area.
Back over here.
So I love all the show, but my favorite part was always the back and forth between Pinky and the Brain, where Brain would say, Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering? You never knew what Pinky was going to come up with, So my question is, did you guys come up with a new response from Pinky every single episode, or did you just sit around thinking of them and insert them where needed?
I can answer this question because I was there. I witnessed the very first iteration of that. Peter Hastings, who sort of was going to write Pinky and the Brain, he was wandering around. Like I said, we all kind of wandered around looking at the floor going, I have a question. I don't understand. And we would filter in each other's office. And Peter came into my office, and he's like, I got a problem. I was like, what? He goes, well, and he stated that Pinky's going to say this, and the brain is going to say that, or are you pondering what I'm pondering? And Peter's like, and he had all this stuff, and he's like, I don't know, but we're going to get a duck and a hose at this hour, right? I think that was the first one.
It was,
yeah. And he was like, what do you think of that? I was like, I don't know. And he pitched a few more out. And I go, I got my own. I'm writing this other thing. I don't really care. And then he wandered off, and I heard him go to different offices going, what do you think of It's a Duck and a Hose? And then you'd hear, I don't know, I don't care. And it was just filtered through. So anyway, he knew exactly what he was doing, but that sort of thing is really hard because that just becomes its own specific thing, and you got to be clever each time for that thing. Yeah.
And we did stockpile some. I know one of the ones that I threw into the mix was, what are you thinking, pondering what I'm pondering? I think so, Brain, but if we call them sad meals, the kids won't buy them.
We just have a couple minutes left, so let's try to get as many as we can through. Right on the right side?
Okay. My personal favorite segment is Pinky and the Brain, and I'm wondering what your personal favorite segments are.
Oh, original favorite segment, Paul.
Of Animaniacs or Pinky and the Brain? Animaniacs.
The whole series.
The whole series.
Oh, all right. I have one that I like the most because it was just the dumbest thing. It was called Super Strong Warner Siblings. And it was just really dumb, and it made me laugh a lot. So that's my favorite segment.
I can't come up with one, but one of my favorite Slappies is Bumby's mom, and another favorite Slappy is Critical Condition, where they blow up Siskel and Ebert.
Go over to the left.
Hi, I love the Animanicast. I love that podcast. If everyone's
thank
not
you.
listening to it, they definitely
should. Thank you for enjoying my podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Luke, did your dad give you the same facial expressions when you were recording lines, or how did he give you notes?
I spent a lot of time doing ADR mostly. So what wound up happening is they would animate stuff. I mean, I was a little kid most of the time, so they'd record me and then they'd animate it and it'd be like, well, he kind of garbled some of those lines. He kind of the tongue got stuck behind his teeth. Anyway, but so I wound up being really good at watching the video. I'd watch the video once, and then I'd have headphones on and I'd hear a beep, 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 and then suddenly I had to fill in the mouth movements of the animated character. And somehow I really picked up on that.
He was really good. By the time he was doing Big Fat Baby on Hysteria, he was called the one-take wonder because he would come in and just, he's very sophisticated by then. And yeah, he had to do all that stuff. It was like it would always fit. And he'd fall down the stairs and go, and it just hit.
All right, let's see if we can get a couple more in real quick.
Tom told me a story yesterday about a can in a recycling bin. I thought he should share it with the rest of us.
Sherry Stoner, I got your can. I got your can as a Slappy Squirrel cartoon where she tries to blow up a neighbor who's tormenting her, and it was a real life story. Sherry Stoner threw a can in a recycled garbage can that she's walking by, and the neighbor came out and said, "Wait, hold it. That's my recycled can. You can't throw your can into my recycled can." And she's like, "Wait, you're kidding, right?" And no, please remove it from my waste products. And so Sherry came in the studio and said, "I'm writing a Slappy Squirrel script about my neighbor."
All right. You get the last question. What do we got?
In case you haven't noticed, even though I'm sure you have, you've really made a huge impact on us in so many different ways, and it's all thanks to your genius. I want to hear what how the show best impacted you in your lives.
It's a great question.
I bought a house. And it also it was good, but unfortunately it's not the way it's done anymore, so it just kind of makes me long for the day where creative people can just be creative. So it was great. I have a house, and I'm sad that we're not doing it anymore. So.
Right. Yeah, for me it was the highlight creatively of my experience in showbiz, where we had the freedom to really do lots of great things. And I worked with the funniest people on earth, and I got to work with all three of my sons, and it was just a perfect experience for me. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Let's give it up for Tom and Paul.
And Joey from the Animanicast.
No, not for these guys. You can see them down over there.
Come visit us.
By the food court. Get some pictures signed. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully the rest of the audio will come out perfectly as well, and I'll be able to share that in the next few weeks as well. Hey, let's go ahead and get some plugs in here. Nathan, he's not here, but you should, of course, follow him on Twitter. The man needs followers. He is Django FT on Twitter. And Kelly, she's on Twitter as well. Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS. You can follow her on there. And subscribe to the Animanicast on all of your podcast players. Why not? If you have multiple podcast players, just subscribe to each one. Pick your favorite. We're on each and every one of them. If there is a podcast player out there that you can't find us on, we need to know about it. You let us know. And, of course, we are a proud member of the RetroZap.com podcast network. Head on over to RetroZap.com to get fantastic podcasts and wonderful articles each and every day, written by some amazing writers and some fantastic podcasters. It's just a great family over there. And if you'd like to join the conversation with the RetroZap folks,